and welcome again to First Yahudin Messianic Temple in here in Lake Placid, Florida. I am his servant Maria Simpson, and welcome again to this message that I'm bringing to me is a very powerful one because I believe that a lot of marriages are in a lot of trouble, and the message is called "Does Happiness Exist in Marriage?" I'm going to tell you the answer to that is yes. It's yes. People ask me all the time when I coach them, Maria, what is a healthy relationship? Does a healthy and happy relationship in a marriage exist? This is what I tell them. There are no perfect relationship. There's no perfect people. And if you are looking for somebody that is perfect, you will find many frustration. Living happily ever after does not exist, only in fairy tales. Are you prepared to be in a healthy relationship? Not only in entering in a healthy relationship, but are you willing to participate in that relationship? Okay. The concept of taking somebody in marriage is to accept them, him or her, completely as they are, with their insecurities, their low self-esteem, with their potential, with their flaws. Okay? Now, I believe that most of us, maybe you were, but I wasn't. We were not raised, and we were taught really the importance of marriage. Yes, I was raised Catholic, and yes, Catholics, it's very important to be married. But what I'm going to explain to you today, I was not taught, and a lot of people were not taught. This is why many couples are having problems. Like when we get married, when you're married and when you're in the altar and you say "I do" to the other person, that "I do" it's just more than three letters. I do. When we say, or when you say, when somebody is getting married in the altar and they say "I do," they're really making a commitment, a contract, a covenant, an agreement, just like when you buy a car. You do a contract. You buy a house. You get a loan. You do a contract. But see, before we sign the dotted line, that you're already signing the marriage certificate, both parties, before you do the signatures, you say "I do." Before God, it is a spiritual commitment that you are going to dedicate yourself. Each person is dedicating themselves to this person, no matter what happens. And what I mean that, I don't mean when there's abuse. I don't mean when a man treats a woman poorly, belittles her, makes fun of her, and also when a woman doesn't respect her husband. Oh, well, she doesn't respect me, but I'm going to stay with her. Well, he beats me up, but it's okay. I'm going to stay here because the Bible says that, you shouldn't divorce. See, we need to let the scriptures interpret the scriptures. When Paul said, when a woman divorces her husband and marries another, she commits sin. She commits a sin. She has to come back to her husband. Paul here is not talking about a man and a woman getting married. Paul is talking about the Messiah and the bride, the church. If the church, if a person, if a believer decides to leave Yeshua, decides to leave God and marry somebody else, another deity, another God, she is committing a sin. She's committing adultery. Come back to your husband, your former husband. Talking about Yeshua. Has nothing to do with a woman and a man that is married, and the man is beating her up, mistreats her, and she keeps on being in that relationship because she feels that she is sinning if she leaves him. The devil is a liar, and Yeshua is still the Messiah. You cannot be or stay in a very unhealthy relationship just because your mom says so, your religious folks says so, your pastor says so, this one says. You don't do that because you're not going to be happy. Marriage commitment is something that both people do, and they make a commitment to make it work and to be happy. And commitment is the strong foundation of marriage. Many people divorce for many different reasons. One of them that says maybe is because of money. So and so can, family member, got into our affair. He doesn't love me, or she doesn't love me, or there's many excuses. But I believe the number one cause of divorce is immaturity. See, maturity is not something that you are 50 years old. 50 years old is telling you that right now you're in an age that you're in the middle between 101, the number 100 and the number 1. And this is your peak in your mind. Your mind now is fully developed. But when you are not fully developed at any age, you're married, okay? You're at any age, especially at 50 or over 50. When you're not developed, you're still immature. You do things as a child. Paul says, when I was a child, I spoke as a child. I reasoned as a child. I thought, I reasoned as a child. But when I became a man, I left my childish ways. See, Paul was a very wise man. But Paul decided never to get married. So when Paul speaks about marriage, most of the time he is speaking about Yeshua and the bride and believers. Because how can Paul, that has never been married with a woman, how can he speak about marriage? At age 18, my husband and I got married. We went to a priest. Of course, and then this is his comment to us. Well, since you're going to get married, you're 18 years old. The best thing you do is that, you have to depart for 1 year. You go one way, you go the other. You start meeting other people. You start having sex with them. And then in 1 year, you decide to come back to make sure that that's okay. Now that didn't sound too kosher to me. That really didn't sound too kosher to me. Then I started thinking, okay, priests do not marry. They can talk about marriage. They can tell you about a book. They can read what is marriage, but they have never been married. How can a person that has never have been married, how can they give you good advice? Work daily, and it's a work that is very hard. It's very hard. Because in marriage, see, we think that, hey, now, it's, I'm going to give you roses and bonbons and little kisses and I love you and all this stuff. And yeah, that's okay. But marriage is more than that. Marriage is more than love. Because before two people get married, most likely they are already in love. So why do people get married? Because it's the right thing to do before God. When two people say, I do, in the altar, that is a contract, a spiritual contract before God. And when we are saying, I do, the ones that are sitting and they're in the church, they're listening and they are witnesses to what we just said. But what has happened to marriage? People don't understand marriage because marriage does not come from man. It comes from God. It was established by God. Your spouse is the only gift that God will give you, that it belongs to you besides your life. And what you do with your spouse, with your wife, with your husband, it will determine that relationship. But in order to understand that, you have to understand the importance of marriage. Please go with me to the book of Genesis, Bereshit in Hebrew. And it's amazing. It's amazing. And I just noticed this 2 days ago. When God created Adam and Eve, they were joined together. Literally, they were joined together. And they couldn't, they were joined together. So what he did, he caused a deep sleep on Adam. And he really redefined the woman. And look at the interesting thing that happened here that I never noticed, and he showed me. The Holy Spirit showed me that I said, wow. On Genesis chapter 2, verse number 23. And Adam said, this is now bone of my bones, flesh of my flesh, and shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. Therefore shall a man leave his wife and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, not unto his woman, or not unto the girl, his wife. Okay? And they shall be one flesh. And they were both naked, and the man and his wife were not ashamed. Now, the interesting thing here is that something happened when God established marriage in the beginning. If you follow along, right there after verse number 25, right there, chapter 3, verse number 1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which Yahweh the Lord God had made. And he said unto the woman, yeah, has God said, you shall not eat of every tree of the garden? It is amazing how When God established this marriage covenant in the beginning with Adam and Eve, the first person that entered that marriage was Satan himself. And why? Because Satan knows the importance of when a husband and wife are united as one. There is power in union. So he knew that how he was going to destroy this marriage was to really come and bring what is called a division. From that moment to this moment, the enemy is still doing the same thing. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Knowledge is a very, very powerful thing, because what knowledge does, it expands your mind. It makes you understand about things, but in this case, about marriage. I am going to read something to you that is unbelievable. What marriage does to people, how healthy it is. Now this is by Robert H. Schimmerling, MD, Senior Faculty Editor at Harvard Health Publishing. He says that there are fascinating and compelling research suggesting that married people enjoy better health than single people. For example, as compared with those who are single, those who are married tend to 1. Live longer. 2. Have fewer strokes and heart attacks. 3. Have a lower chance of becoming depressed. 4. Be less likely to have advanced cancer at the time of diagnosis, and more likely to survive cancer for a more extended period. And 5, survive a significant operation more often. He says that this does not mean that just being married is automatically provides these health benefits. People in stressful, unhappy relationship may be worse off than a single person surrounded by supportive and caring friends, family, and loved ones. Interestingly, he says, many of these health benefits are more pronounced for married men than for married women. According to other research, most men that divorce will not stay divorced for a long period of time. They will get married again. The Bible says it is not good for men to be alone. I will make him a helpmate. What does I do mean? I do is simple but powerful. It's a verbal contract. It says that I am committing myself to this person no matter what. No abuse. I don't believe in that. Okay? It is a binding agreement, and this binding agreement is called responsibility. Responsibility. When my husband and I, we've been married for 43 years. This 2021, we were 43 years in January. When we were 17 years married, we divorced for 3 months. What was the cause of our divorce? It was not women. It was not situation. It was nothing. It was not man. It was not man. It was nothing. You know what it was? Immaturity. When a man and a woman is not mature in marriage, you will act like a child. You will think like a child. You will not understand. And most of the time, especially when a man is a mama's boy, he will go back when he gets divorced. He will go back to his mama. There's a lot of reasons why people get divorced, but very few reasons how healthy and important marriage is. And marriage has had a bad rap, and it's none of the above. When you make a commitment to sign a mortgage contract, or a car payment, or a loan, it's a responsibility. Responsibility. The word responsibility comes from the word respond. You are responding to what's happening. You are going to take action. But in a marriage, it cannot be healthy, or it cannot be a happy marriage if only one person is trying while the other one is not. And I don't mean to be ugly, what I'm saying, because I believe the men and women should learn a lot about marriage. But let me tell you, a lot of men need to learn a lot about marriage because they themselves were not taught. I hear a lot of men making fun of their wives, belittling their wife. I have a lot of women that I coach and they cry because of what they're going through. 3 weeks ago, I was coaching one lady, and she's older. She's retired. She's been living with her husband X amount of years. I don't know how many years. And this woman had suicide attacks that she wanted to die because she couldn't take it. But then she starts thinking her culture and the way I was raised and all this stuff. Well, let me tell you something about the culture. Culture, it's just another way that somebody along the line, a man or maybe a group of people, decided to bring this into the culture. Ladies, I'm going to say this because you need to hear this. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. The only one that can really bring happiness to your life is yourself. I teach women to believe in who they are. Not because in a way of competition with their husband or their mate. No, I don't believe that. Because my husband is the head of the household. But the truth is, I am the neck. And we both work together. I respect my husband. My husband loves me and respects me. And let me tell you, it's a commitment. And the most beautiful thing in marriage is, it's not when you're going through good times. It's not every time you go and you have intimacy. It's when you are going through hard time that the person that is really married to you, the person that is there, it is with you all the way. That is commitment. That is love. Most people, when they get married today, they have these huge, elaborate weddings, which I think is awesome. And it's, okay, they have these huge, elaborate weddings. And they make the wedding to be like an entertainment for people that go to the wedding. A wedding feast is a celebration that you are not trying to entertain people. When somebody gets married, you celebrate their happiness, their togetherness, their marriage. and you dance and you feel good. But what is happening to a lot of marriages? When a man or a woman were not taught the importance of a relationship, of a marriage, they will go into that relationship thinking, oh, I'm in love, I'm in heaven, I feel good, this man, this woman is going to be the best in my life, I feel so good, because it feels good when you're in love. But not understanding that that man and that woman is bringing a suitcase of a lot of undone things from their past that they have gone through. And along the way in their marriage, these two suitcases are going to be open and it's going to surface. I do not believe that a husband and wife should really curse at each other, because you're really cursing each other. And I really mean not only bad words, you're cursing each other. How can you curse the man or the woman that you married many years ago because they don't understand you, they do things different than you? Remember, men and women do not think the same way. When you marry your spouse, and when your spouse married you, there was something that he had and you had that really it made him and her feel so good. And let me tell you what that was. What the woman did not have, the husband had, and then what the woman did not have, the husband had, and what the husband did not have, the woman had. And guess what? It became two. You fall in love not with the person. You fall in love with what the person, the positive things that the person makes you feel. You fall in love with what they have. And the same thing is with a man and a woman. When my husband and I divorced 17 years in our marriage, the number one problem that we have, we did not make God our number one source in our marriage. There was immaturity. My mom and my mother-in-law mingled in our marriage. It was chaotic. But I was not. I was not strong. I was not mature, and neither was my husband. 3 months later, we come back and we get married, and let me tell you what I did. I went to God and I said, God, you will be the source of my marriage from now on. And let me tell you, we've been married for 43 years, and it doesn't matter how long you've been married, because my mom and dad were married for, 50 something years, and they were miserable. Miserable. Marriage is sacred. Marriage is holy. Marriage is consecrated. Marriage is different. There is no other relationship, not even with your own children, of what marriage is. And what's happening with married folks is that a lot of times there are mothers, and I'm talking about wives, that they have children or grandchildren, and they spend more time with their grandchildren than they do with their spouse. Wrong. And I love my grandchildren. I do a lot of things with my grandchildren. But let me tell you, my number one priority is my husband. It is not my grandchildren. And yes, it sounds like I really don't love my grandchildren. That is not true. My grandchildren are going to grow up and they're going to do their own lives. My husband is going to grow old with me. And I will grow old with him. And when you are married and you can see your spouse, that there's nobody like your spouse in the world, you will learn the importance of how to treat this person better so you can have a happy marriage when it's done together. How can you say, oh, I've been married 20 years? Big deal. Really? Oh, I've been married. I got married in Timbuktu, and I went to this, and I went on my... It doesn't matter. What matters is the commitment and how you respect each other. And with that comes communication and intimacy and a lot of things. But the number one thing is commitments. Do you want to see really what commitment is with a lot of married men, including fathers? Go to jail and see how many men are there and how many fathers and how many husbands that did not understand what it was to be committed to a woman. Don't speak evil and nasty about the person that really, the husband or the man or the woman or that in your life. Speak positive things. God has given you this man and this woman for a reason, for a season, for always. Stop complaining. Not know or do not do. Why don't you look at yourself and see what you need to change about you? Why do you look at the speck at your brother's eye, but you don't look at the beam that is inside of you? First take the beam out of your eye, and then you can go and take the speck out of your brother's eye. I deal with women daily. I speak to women daily. It is sad what is happening in marriages, what is happening in relationship. And see, many people think that once you are divorced for X amount of years and so on, and you have your kids and you get married, that everything is done. No, it's not. Because you're going to have to talk to that person sometime in the future, because you do have kids together. You do have grandchildren together. So there's going to be mixing. And if one marriage did not go good, because you didn't learn from that marriage, you go to another marriage or another relationship, you think it's going to go different? No, because the one that needs to learn is you. You need to learn is you. You need to love who you are. You need to understand that God gave you this man and this woman for a reason. It is for you not to be alone in this world. For you not to, when you go through hard times, not to go through hard times by yourself. God is perfect. And we need to understand the importance of marriage, because marriage, don't make fun at your marriage. Don't make fun at your spouse. That is what I call bad juju. Bad juju. Because our children don't do what we ask them to do. Our children do what we give them as an example. The best thing to be in life is to be an example. I never used to talk like this about marriage. I used to think, oh, if it doesn't go good, I'm going to get divorced, and what the hell, and this and that. Even though I love my husband. What a moron I was. And many people talk like this. I used to have a hair salon, and women would come there. They were going to get married. And I had two ladies in two different weddings, and said, you know what? I'm going to get married today, but if it doesn't go good, I'll get a divorce. And I said to her, so why you get married? And I got a little surprise for all of you that are listening. You're absolutely right, Tyra. Marriage is not peaches and cream. Marriage is very hard, and you have to work at it. You're absolutely right. But see, a lot of people, they get married. You know what happens? They think everything's going to be okay. No, you will never work as hard as you do in marriage to make it work. But what happens is when the mind of the man and the mind of the woman is not mature, it will still do things like a man or a woman, not like a husband or a wife. For example, when a man and a woman gets married, and they're already married, they are can no longer think like a man or a woman. They gotta think like a husband and a wife. You in married folks cannot say, this is my man. Oh, this is my woman. Married folks have to say, this is my husband and this is my wife. The problem is that a lot of men go into marriage thinking like a man again, single man, like a man, not like a husband. The same thing with women. Women are very irritated. Women want to feel loved. They want to feel caressed. They want for their husband to see them as the only woman in the world. And most men don't do this because they were not taught. And you cannot give what you don't have. For example, this message right now is very powerful because there's problems in marriages and problems in relationships. And then the woman screams, and what's happened with you, and get out of here, and she screams, and because I done that. But not knowing that the one that needed to change was not my husband, was me. And also my husband, not knowing that the one that needed to change was not me, was him. Marriage is sacred and is so profound that this message that I have here cannot be done in 45 minutes because it is impossible. Ladies, that you are out there, that you are being abused by your husband, most likely your husband probably saw his father abusing his mother. Because children imitate what they see in their parents. And then women in general wants to be, this is for you guys, women want to be cuddled. They want to be cared for. They want to be hugged. They want to be appreciated. They want their husband or their partner that is with them to see them as the best, the most beautiful woman they has ever existed. This is to everybody here now. I'm going to ask you a question. What would you do if the husband, your husband or wife, or your partner, the person you live with, that you've been with that person for a long time, is no longer, not only in your life, is no longer living? How would you feel? I'm going to tell you how I will feel.
My father died 11 years ago. My mom said, I miss my dad. I miss your dad, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So this is what I did. Because I could not relate to my mom. Because my husband is still with me. We went to Walmart. My husband went into the tools, and I went, and I started thinking. I said, I want to see what my mom feels. In my mind, I started thinking that my husband did not exist. My husband died. I was there by myself, and for 20 minutes, I literally went into my mind thinking my husband did not live any longer. I started looking around, and I didn't see him. Tears began to come out of my eyes. And I started literally, this happened for real. Literally, I started calling my husband's name, Roger. I said, honey, where are you? Where are you, honey? I need you. At that moment, I felt what my mom felt. It feels horrible. It feels horrible to know that the person that you love and that is the father of your children, that you've been with this person for such a long time, that God gave you this person, that yes, you have gone through a lot of hell, kitchen with this marriage and so on, is no longer in my life. I started getting panic attacks. I didn't like what I was feeling. All of a sudden, I see my husband coming towards me, and he sees me crying, and I started hugging him, and I said, honey, I love you, I love you, I love you. I don't want you to die. And I told him what happened. He goes, you crazy, Maria. I go, no, that's how I do things. I will feel horrible, even though life goes on, but it's not the same. So now what I do, I appreciate my husband. I do things for my husband, and my husband do things for me. We have learned from our mistakes because we are not perfect. We have done things that we're ashamed of. But I can tell you that we have overcome all those obstacles in our lives, and now we appreciate each other like never before. And to all of you out there, let me tell you, that marriage doesn't get worse as it grows older, it gets better. It gets better. Because yes, as you get older, everything goes south. You don't look the same when you were 20 years old. You had children, your husband, it's different, it's different. But it's beautiful because you're growing old together. Growing old together. Can two come in agreement? Can two walk together if they don't come in agreement? You know how beautiful it is to be married, and that you're sick, you got a cold, and your husband is catering to you, and I'm catering to my husband, but it wasn't like that. It was not like that. It's something that you have to work for it. Marriage is not something that you write a piece of paper like a lottery ticket. Oh, I want. No. The dividends are awesome in marriage. They're awesome. Marriage is something that you have to work at it, because we come into this relationship with flaws, insecurities, potential. We come with a lot of stuff that we, of course, don't put it in there in the front line when we get married. But it's beautiful. Let me tell you, I don't care what anybody says. My husband and I are still working at our marriage every single day. When I'm working in the house, whatever I'm doing, if I'm with the kids, with the grandchildren or whatever, if I see my house, I hug him. I say things in his ear. Men like this, ladies. Men do not like when you are, excuse me the word, when you're a bitch. They don't like that. They don't like that. And if you want change in your husband, the first that needs to change is you. And men, if you want change in your wife, the first that has to change is you. It's all about change. There's many reasons for being married. But you need to be very wise when picking your partner for life. You have to be very wise. Where does this person come from? What is its roots? I'm serious about this. You need to understand the importance how this man is not, or this woman is not just saying, oh my goodness, he's hunky-dory in bed. Because that will fade away. It doesn't mean you're not going to have sex. But before you get to sex, in marriage, there's got to be things through the morning, and then the night comes, the sex. That is very important. There are many reasons to choose wisely. And you need to carefully, when you pick your spouse. New research says that good marriage is good for your health. A good marriage is good for your health. And that a bad one can be a real heartbreaker. I don't know how long I have. I think I have 45 minutes that I've been talking to you. I haven't even said everything that I wanted to say. But you know what? Apparently I'm going to continue this next week. These are the keys to a successful marriage. Because even though my husband and I, we've been married for 43 years, we're still working at it. I don't want anybody in my life besides my husband. My husband tells me the same thing. He's different. I'm different. Sometimes he drives me up the wall. But what I do, I just relax. And I said, okay, it will pass. He does the same thing with me. Because I love my husband. I need my husband. He is the best thing that God has given me besides my life and my family. But he is the only one that is going to grow old with me even when I'm 100 years old. Because everybody's going to leave. The keys to a successful marriage. Let me just give you a couple of points. Communicate clear and often. This is so key. A lot of married folks, they talk, but most of the time, the men are not listening. Men and women they don't think the same. Men think with their logic. Women, we think with our emotions. And communication is very vital, especially listening. When we were born, we knew that we were hearing sounds. But listening is a skill that you need to learn. We need to learn as time goes by. So communicate clearly and often. 2, tell your spouse that you are thankful for having him or her in your life. This is also key. Men, tell your wife that she is so important to you. Women need to hear this. Men get excited for what they see. Women get excited with what we hear. We need to hear this from our husband. We need to hear that I'm very thankful, dear, I'm very thankful that you are in my life. Don't just do something. Guys, tell your wife, tell the girl that's with you how much you are thankful for having her in your life. 3, make time for you two as a couple. Remember when you met the first time, you constantly spent time together. And all of a sudden, after so many years, now it's the grandchildren, it's the family, which is okay. But you forgot to spend time as a couple. You need to reminisce how you guys met. You need to reminisce, maybe watch a movie, a funny movie. This is very key. This is very, very important. 4, you need to plan for some personal time. Plan for some personal time. And the worst thing, and this is from experience, that we can do as a couple is to bring our problems to our bedroom. Our family problems to our bed. children's problem to our bed. It is the worst thing. Because what you're doing, instead of connecting, that you can leave when you're sitting on the table. But when you're in bed, it is holy. Your bedroom, your bed is kadosh, is sacred. It is just you and your husband. Don't bring problems of the family, including of yourselves, into the bed. You bring to the bed when you made up, and it's wonderful when you made up, because your bedroom is your holy ground. 6, understand that it is okay to disagree. It is okay to disagree. Give space to your spouse. Men, give space to the lady in your life. Men, don't take advantage of women. Don't take advantage of your wife just because she's the way she is. She's dynamite. She loves to look at what she does with the grandchildren. Look at what she does in your life. Don't take advantage of her. Because women are constantly thinking about their husband. Constantly. What can I do for my husband? Besides the children and the grandchildren, I'm talking about marriage. Men, don't take advantage of your wife. Understand that it's okay to disagree. Number 7, you need to build trust. This is so key in a relationship. Build trust. Build trust. When you do this, whatever is happening in the world, whatever is happening in the family, whoever died, whoever resurrected, whatever happened, you will be happy. Because now it is you and your spouse working and walking together. So it is good to build trust. And number 8, last but not least, learn to forgive. Forgiveness is the best antidote for anything. Because when you forgive, you are not holding grudges. You are not living in the past. When you forgive, what you're doing is you're letting go the resentment, the hatred, what he has said, what she has said, what you went through. You forgive not because of what they did was okay, but to let go so you can be healthier, so you can be happy. Everyone makes mistake. Your spouse may hurt your feelings or do something that upsets you, that makes you angry. And that may make you angry, even furious. This happens a lot to women, including men. But it's important to deal with your feelings. Let them go and move on. Don't keep bringing up the past. Listen. When you live in the past and keep on talking about the past, you will get stuck in the past, which is gone. The past does not exist except in our minds. The future does not exist because it's not here yet. The only time that exists is the present. That is why it's called a gift. It's a gift. It's a present. When you are in the present, that's our reality. Let go of the past. Let go of the pain. Let go whoever hurt it. Let go. Let go. Everything happens for a reason, including when our loved ones, they die. What I have learned, every time somebody that I know, or my mom, dad, and other people, or I hear people that died that I know, it hurts me. But I learned from that. You know what I learned? To appreciate life. And how you appreciate life is to live in the present. Who the hell cares how many Tom, Dicks, and Harry of relationship you have had in the past? Who the hell cares how many relationship you men have had with Wilma Flintstone, with little baby, little Bo Peep, and all that stuff? Who cares? Learn from your mistakes. Learn from the past. Learn and get rid of the past and stop being stuck there, because that is not going to bring happiness to your relationship. Remember to remain committed to your spouse, your family, and the life that you have built together. Your family, your children, your grandchildren, you and your husband build together. If you don't know, if that's not enough to say thank you, this is awesome, then please check yourself out, because let me tell you, it is important when you have built your children, your grandchildren, your marriage, your life together, support each other's emotionally and in every ways. You, your spouse, and your relationship may grow and change with time, but these ideas can help your marriage stay successful over years. What is the conclusion of the matter? This is the conclusion of the matter. The person that you spend most of your time with is not your spouse, it's yourself. Loving yourself does not make you selfish. It makes you indestructible, and you deserve love, and you deserve affection. And this is the greatest of love. The greatest of all is love. When you are peaceful, love is patient. When you are caring, love is kind. When you are generous, love is not envious. When you are humble, love is not boastful. When you are apologetic, love is not proud. When you are respectful, love is not rude. Let me see if I can find the other ones, because I know they're here somewhere. It's just that there's so much to say. When you are loving, love is not selfish. When you are friendly, love is not easily angered. When you are happy, love does not keep records of wrong. When you are understanding, love does not delight in evil. When you are honest, love rejoices with the truth. No one should live without love. The biggest thing, and I believe the biggest problem in marriages and relationship that we face is egocentric and selfishness. Nothing that comes from pride or injustice will last, but the effects of love will last forever. And this is a quote that I leave with by Giantino Benavente. True love is not known for what it demands, but for what it offers. Until next time, Shavua Tov, to continue in marriages. Nunca he visto tanta gente